I couldn't go into the Catholic school unless I was a Catholic. So they rebaptized me to get me into the Catholic school.
I didn't know you could be rebaptized at all.
So that's
I didn't know you got another shot at it.
that's Trinidad.
How are you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. What do you remember about that concert, that 70th? It sounded wild.
That I made it, number one, but my daughter who sings like an angel,
Yeah.
I couldn't get her to come on stage at all. And that concert, she was one of my background vocalists. So just seeing her for the entire show behind me, that was like a very, very powerful moment for me to see her there.
How long were you on stage?
5 hours.
See, this blows my mind, David. 5 hours on stage.
Yeah. The only persons I know who do 5 hour long shows is Bruce Springsteen and the guy who wrote American Pie.
Don McLean.
Don McLean.
Yeah, but I tell you one thing. Bruce Springsteen's 70 odd now, and from what I hear, he's shortened it down to like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. You're still going with the 5 hour shows.
Yeah, well, this is the last one. You never know if things turn the corner tomorrow. I might change my mind, but right now it's the last. That's why I gave everything I had.
Yeah. How do you feel after a 5 hour show?
Lifted, because people are going away feeling like they're floating, and that's what my achievement. I got them to float and fly and feel good about themselves.
How do you make sure you don't get tired when you do a 5 hour show?
You get tired 2 days after. we went for the first time in my life. We went to the after party.
They had an after party, so you never normally go to the after party.
No, but this is the first time.
Yeah. Why is that? Why did you go this time?
The entire family was there, and it was my friend Carl Jacobs. He has a nightclub in town, so he said, "Why don't you guys come across?" And the same way Calypso is just spontaneous sometimes. That after party was spontaneous, so it was beautiful.
I thought what we could do today, since you're not just a legend of Calypso and a legend of soca, but you're a real student of the history as well. I thought what we could do today is sort of listen to some music together, and you can kind of talk me through it, and we could talk a little bit about how your rise as a musician was also the rise of soca. And I want to play you this song right now. Take a listen to this. That is the late Raj Shorty I with a song called Shanti Om. Raj Shorty I, considered the father of soca music. The song came out in 1978. What do you think was driving his vision for soca at that time?
I think the society, people change music. Generations change it. You do and create things. I think it's there, and then you reflect. The artist reflects what the generation thinks. So each era has its own sound. And we were coming out of the Black Power era. We identified with what was happening in Harlem and then what's in America. There was also the same unrest in Trinidad. And there had to be some music to sort of reflect that. And we were listening to soul music from the States at that time. And there was a sense of a fusion of soul and calypso. That's where the word soca came about, S-O-C-A. First 2 letters of soul and 2 letters of calypso. And the first song that reflected this mood was Raj Shorty singing Endless Vibration, where he used a lot of American idioms in the song. All the Black American language patterns came into play with this new song, and then put a calypso bass in it. And calypso was like, I always tell people, it's like doom, 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 doom. And when soca came about, it got more rhythmic. Doom, 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 doom. I was present for all these things because I was working in the recording studios at that time, a freelance background vocalist. And so I was able to hear the new songs emerging. And Shorty was definitely the man who started the ball rolling, as we should say.
But you were saying Calypso, it was a little straighter. You were almost doing like something I'd associate with like a jazz bass, like the doom, 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 doom,
because
doom, doom, doom.
The old Calypsonians always take whatever form of music is going on in the world. If it's bebop, you will hear a bebop song to the Calypso. If it's there was a Latin period, and there was a Latin song to the Calypso. But the Calypso always absorbs these new vibrations and send them back out to the people in a different form. So, but when soca came about, people started to dance more.
Yeah.
And the lyrics started to change to dance, let's have a good time. And that's where the whole idea of wind your body and shake your body down to the ground and let's party, put your hand in the air.
Did the old Calypsonians, were they resistant to soca coming in?
Yes. Every generation, sort of like when Marshall came, he was too young to soca. When I emerged at the same time, I'm not a real singer. I don't have a Calypso name.
People said that to you?
Yes. The Calypsonians were the generation was stubborn for change. I was a symbol of change. What is this new music? Why are these people enjoying this music? So we don't know about this. This is strange to us.
Yeah. But I'm surprised that they would be like doubtful of you because you had your bona fides. I mean, you were not just a recording studio, but you were singing background for Lord Kitchener, like one of the most important Calypso artists of all time.
Kitchener, Sparrow, all the great guys, we sang for all of them. But the thing is, singing for them in the recording studio, and singing on stage with them, and grabbing the crowd even more powerfully than they ever did. That's where the trouble came in.
Yeah, right. All of a sudden, you had the audience in a way that maybe the earlier Calypsonians didn't have.
Yeah, and the thing is that that year I won the Young Kings, which is like a competition for the up-and-coming people.
Yeah.
I won that. I won the Road March, which was the most popular song.
Yeah.
First and second, I won Calypso Monarch. The Winning Steel Band played my song. So no, that has never happened in the history of music in Trinidad or anywhere, So that was like, what people decided, what is going on? Some people loved it.
Yeah.
And some people couldn't stand it.
I mean, let's talk about that. Let's listen to some music. Take a listen to this.
She had me in heaven, she had your boy in hell. What that woman do to me, I just couldn't tell. All I know is she ring me bell with this. Bim 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 baby di bamba. Riggy diggy bing baby diggy bang. Bim 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 baby di bamba.
That's a bit of Bahia Girl from my guest David Rudder. So in 1986, you released 2 massive solo records for Trinidad Carnival. Your career is never quite the same. That's one of them right there. That song and another single, The Hammer, you were just mentioning this kind of time in your life. Yeah. It makes you the first artist to win 3 of the major Calypso titles of Trinidad's Carnival season. You were just talking to me a little bit about that time. When all of that was happening, when you were really taken off, what do you remember feeling around that time?
I had written that song, by a girl for Crazy, another Calypsonian, and he didn't take the song, so I decided to do it because I said this song has something in it. We call it a jumbie. There's some kind of magic in this song that you have to let it be and see where it goes.
Yeah.
And so done. The entire country, wherever you pass, at that period, that's all they sing. Pim 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 baby. It was like. This has never happened before in Trinidad or anywhere, that country like rallied around the song like that. So that sort of created a lot of anxiety. That's where the anxiety came about.
You had the anxiety with the older Calypsonians.
Right.
Well, how did you feel? Were you a celebrity overnight? Like, what did your life change? My life changed.
People started to call. Warner Brothers started to call. Eddie Grant started to call. London Records called. To me, I'm so glad that the song made people happy. But now it's gone beyond that. Something has changed. Something has definitely changed here, That was quite interesting.
Let's talk about, my God, the artist you wrote it for must have regretted not recording it.
Probably.
Yeah. If I was him, I'd be so upset. You mentioned this earlier. I want to make sure I get this right. So 2 of the 3 titles you made history winning that year were the Road March and the Calypso Monarch. One is the sort of the critical acclaim, like people who know songs and people who like judge songs based on songs.
Right.
That's the Monarch, Calypso Monarch. You win that, that's great.
Yeah.
But then the Road March is just what people want to play,
Yeah.
what people want to play in the street
Yes.
during Carnival, what people want to hear, what people want to march to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild to win the both of those. And I understand. So then that's 86. And then in 87, this happens.
Calypso, Calypso, Calypso music, yeah, yeah, Calypso, Calypso.
That is Calypso music from my guest, legendary singer and songwriter David Rudder. It's a great honor to have him in the studio to talk a little bit about his journey. The song came out in 1987. So why in 1987? Like, what was happening in 87 that made you want to, at this stage, write an ode to Calypso music?
Because the entire old guard said, he's not singing Calypso. What does he know about Calypso? That song he sang last year, that was a Calypso. And there's a Calypsonian who sang actually in the competition the following year, in 87. He said, sing Rambam. It's a song called Sing Rambam. And it'll sing.
And so the kind of the old guard is making fun of you for having these sort of like words, and they're kind of doing these songs, making fun of your song for having like nonsense in it.
Yeah, it sounds like nonsense to them, you know.
Yeah. And then, so you write an ode to Calypso music to be like, hey, I know my thing.
I know what I'm doing. So I'm saying, let me write a song about the music they say I don't know about, Calypso music. But it turns out people say, no, that's my best song, you know.
So you're saying that in the evolution of soca that was happening at the time, it was kind of going one way and you were willing to go the other way and make it sound different.
Right. And I didn't do it deliberately. That's just my vibe. It was just different and it fell into place. The fact that Crazy didn't take the song, all of these things, all these elements, it was a sweet space, you know. Everything fell into that sweet space and the rest is history.
But what did you want it to sound like? When soca was happening, it was still sort of a nascent, like early genre of music. Yeah. What did you want soca to sound like? I
just wanted people to dance. Because I sang with a soca band, I knew what it could do to make people dance. So it was just to transform what I already knew, put it in song, and let's see, let the people judge. And I came out guilty.
You were guilty of changing everything and getting everybody dancing the same. Right. Let's listen to some more music. Take a listen to this.
And if you know what I mean, then scream. Oh, 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 give Jah his praises. Oh, oh, let Jah be praised. Oh, oh, the Father in His mercy, He sent a little music to make me vibration raise.
That is a little bit of High Mass from my guest, David Rudder, favorite of David Rudder fans, all generations. Tell me about this song.
This song was written about 9 years old, or more, less than that. My school was Belmont Boys RC, Roman Catholic school. So we always had to attend Mass. And there's this drone that the priest used. Dominus vobis cum ex spiritu tuo. Amen.
Yeah. I went to Mass too, man. I know that.
For years.
Yeah, for sure.
But that song was sleeping there for years. And then one day I said, you know what? Let me do this song. Let me do it. And it was one of those things that, like sweet moments again, where my band leader started a riff with the guitar riff, which is like, I always tell people that guitar riff now is like the saxophone in Baker Street.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's certain things that you never forget.
Speaking of Catholicism and being raised going to the Catholic school and all that, I heard that you were baptized 3 different times.
Yes.
Is it 3 different religions?
Yeah. My mother was Anglican, so I was baptized as an Anglican.
Yeah. But
my grandmother was a spiritual Baptist. That's where I learned the chant from Bayagil. That's how they worshipped in African Baptist.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't go into the Catholic school unless I was a Catholic. So they rebaptized me to get me into the Catholic school.
I didn't know you could be rebaptized at all. I didn't know.
So that's
I didn't know you got another shot at it.
that's Trinidad.
How are you feeling about soca right now? I mean, soca and carnival music have never been more popular than they are right now. Are there places that soca hasn't gone creatively that you'd like it to go?
I don't know. Every time I turn somewhere, I'm hearing soca. They're not calling it soca, but it's soca music, It's just quite interesting, especially with the emergence of Afrobeat. When I went to Nigeria, I heard this Afrobeat thing a couple of years ago. I said, but that's like African soca. It's songs, there's something about it, So it penetrates, it's penetrating a lot of societies all around the world, but it's not doing it from the conventional way, like trying to make the Billboard chart something. It means Trinidad there's about over 100 carnivals around the world on the Trinidad model of carnival. And the music travels with that crowd. So it comes from a different angle. So, you go to Europe, they have Trinidad parties, Trinidad style parties, Japan, Switzerland, all over. And it's just interesting. We never do things the conventional way. Somebody gets signed to a major label and then they go, and then more people get signed. It's just
right.
The music is popular, but it's a sort of underground.
I want to close off by just talking briefly about how you're doing. Obviously, the Parkinson's diagnosis made news here all over the world, including here in Canada. And you mentioned just then you're still writing all the time. And I know we mentioned it earlier. You're still singing and performing. I mean, a little bit. Are still performing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still performing.
What's the biggest adjustment you've had to make as an artist working and performing with Parkinson's?
I had to slow down quite a bit. Like, I would be up and down the stage into the audience, back up on stage. Now I just stand and deliver, I try to keep active. The problem with keeping active is that when I have to travel for 8-10 hours on a flight to Europe, sitting in one position, that takes away a lot from me. I have to find a place, a gym, to kind of put myself back into rhythm and so on. So it's a learning process, but I'm doing okay so far.
The exercise helps, doesn't it?
Yes.
I talked to Michael J. Fox one time, who has Parkinson's, like the actor.
Yes.
Yeah. And he, I asked him that same question. I said, like, what's been the biggest adjustment that you've had to make in your career, And he said, something like, it's knowing that he said, I never used to think about this, but I know now there's going to come a day when I won't be able to perform anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I always thought I'd perform for the rest of my life. I remember one time I was watching an African artist called Papa Wemba. And in the middle of a song in a big concert, he just dropped to the ground. And he was dead. And it was like that was the news. Papa Wemba collapses and dies on stage. And I said, that's a good way to go.
Yeah.
In a funny kind of way. But that's what I thought for myself, Now I have to sort of just take it as it comes, one day at a time.
Well, I hope I hope we're still pretty far away from there because
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I feel good. And
you seem good.
My mom is going to be 102 years old this year.
She's still with us?
Yes, still with us. I have longevity in my family, but I don't want to be living the rest of my life, but just holding on.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
No. It's been a pleasure to have you. Before we let you go, this interview is going to be airing the Friday of Toronto's Caribbean Carnival celebrations. As a legendary musician who, like the song, is Trinity to the bone, what is one carnival tradition you can't live without?
Juve.
Tell me about that.
It's the opening of the carnival, the opening of the morning of the carnival.
Yeah.
People gather from about 2 in the morning and they wait for the opening of the day, the Juve. That's for the light to come over Laventille Hills. The first light of the morning, which we call 4-day morning. And once we see that light, that's the mark that a new dawn is on us here, a new carnival, a new farewell to the flesh, a new affirmation of the magic and might of this little society called Trinidad and Tobago, you know. And I've lived to see shows with people going to carnival and talking about Juve and whining. I said, look, you know, we exported the steel band already. Now we're exporting Juve and we're exporting the word wine. That's not bad.
David, lovely to have you here. Congrats on everything, and thanks for coming in. Lovely to meet you.
Thanks for having me here.